All right. Let me share my screen again. All right. So what do you know about the Fresh Access Bucks program so far?
Me?
Yes.
So I believe it goes hand in hand with the EBT program as far as providing fresh foods for the community. Sure, it's affordable, accessible, things of that nature.
Yeah. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go over kind of what is Fresh Access Bucks as well, to kind of give you an idea. I know you guys do the discount model, but we have farmers markets and we have other outlets as well. So I'm just going to go over how it works at those outlets, how it works at your outlet as well. SNAP fraud prevention, record keeping and reimbursement. I know even if you're not doing FM tracks, we'll just go over what it looks like, and then some FAB resources. All right, so Fresh Access Bucks is a SNAP incentive program. So what that means, shoppers with SNAP EBT, when they go to any of our outlets, they'll get free Florida grown produce. And we have, like I mentioned, we have farmers markets, farm stands, online markets, mobile markets, CSAs, and community grocery stores. And then this is just kind of a map. It's not updated of the different outlets throughout Florida. All right, so kind of like you mentioned, our goal is to help food insecure families and connect them with fresh fruits and vegetables, but also support local farmers, so kind of connects the two. Right, and like I mentioned, Fresh Access Bucks is a 1-for-1 match. So when shoppers use SNAP EBT, they'll get double the produce. In your case, it's a discount, so like a 50% discount on fruits and vegetables. All right, so kind of like I mentioned, we have our different outlets. So at farmers markets, customers will go to the SNAP EBT booth, and when they swipe their card, say they want to swipe for 10 in SNAP that day, the market will give them 10 SNAP tokens, and then they'll match it with 10 FAB tokens. And the FAB tokens can be used at any of the farmers markets or places that accept tokens. So you guys shouldn't see tokens at any point. And then customers can use the SNAP tokens at that particular market. And at our community grocery stores, it kind of works like a rewards program. So when shoppers spend up to $10 in SNAP, they'll get a match, a voucher that they can come back the next time they shop and use that. And then at your outlet, excuse me, also CSAs, some mobile markets, they use the discount model. So when shoppers, the total of Florida grown produce is more than half, they get that 50% discount off of their total. And then if less than half of their total is Florida grown produce, they'll get the Florida grown produce for free. And then any questions about how FAB works at any of the outlets? All right, and then I'll go over an example a little bit later. All right, so for SNAP EBT, customers can buy bread and baked goods, jam, dairy and eggs, seeds, meat, fish, poultry, nuts, produce, vegetable starts, coffee beans and bagged tea, and honey. The only thing they can't buy with SNAP EBT is fresh or hot prepared foods. So if an outlet has like food truck, or they have vendors that sell hot foods, they wouldn't be able to buy items with SNAP EBT. And then for FAB, Fresh Access Bucks, they can buy Florida grown produce, vegetable starts, and then any food producing seeds. And then at the bottom it says honey or prepared food drinks as well is not eligible. Honey is eligible for SNAP EBT though. All right, so here is just an example like a real life example of the discount, how that works. So if a customer were to buy $6 of Florida grown kale, and then they got $4 in bread, the total would be 10. And because more than or 50% or more of the total is Florida grown, they would get 50% off the total. So they would only be charged $5, and then you guys would report $5 in FAB. And then the next one is if less than half of the total is Florida grown produce, so 6 in kale, 4 in bread, and 4 in eggs. The Florida grown produce would be free. So the customer would be charged $8, and they would get $6 in FAB for free. And a lot of the times our discount models, they usually do the 50% off because the customer is eligible for a match of up to $8, if that makes sense. So you can have them pick out another $2 of produce, and it would be the same $8 charged to SNAP. And any questions about that? All right, so online orders. I know you guys do online ordering. Right now, customers can only order online, and then they have to pay once they pick up. There's currently not a way for customers to pay over the phone or online, but there are some SNAP incentive programs that are piloting online SNAP, but they're in the very beginning stages, so no updates with that yet. All right, so SNAP fraud prevention. We just asked our outlets that all of the staff and volunteers know the SNAP regulations, kind of what we mentioned before, what is SNAP eligible and what is FAB eligible. Just making sure the only items customers are using for SNAP are SNAP eligible, for FAB as well. And then if you have any fraudulent activity, or if you guys suspect anything, you can always reach out. And then you would have to report to DCF and the USDA about that. All right. You mentioned you're not going to be doing FM tracks and that you guys have a separate person doing that.
Yes.
All right. So I'll just go over this quickly. If at any point you guys ever need to do like an in-depth training in FM tracks, we can schedule that as well. But I'll just go over kind of what it looks like on the reporting end. So we use FM tracks. So whatever transactions you guys have for the week, it's a website, and you put in the transactions, and that's how you guys get reimbursed for the FAB. So there's 3 different sections: transactions, vendor reimbursement, and post-market report. So the transactions would be the SNAP and FAB distributed, and then the customer's ID. So kind of like that example I showed earlier, where it was $6 in kale and 4 in, was it bread? So the customer was charged 5 for each. So you guys would report 5 SNAP and 5 FAB. And then the vendor reimbursements would be the same thing, 5 in SNAP and 5 in FAB. And then we would reimburse you guys the $5. And then there's also a post-market report where you guys report any staff or volunteers that work that day, vendors. You guys, it's only you guys for our farmers markets. They have to list each individual vendor, and then any nutrition ed you guys had that day. All right, and then FM Tracks ID, you might hear us talking about that on the staff call. So we ask when you guys are writing your transactions down, you also list the customer ID, which is the first letter of the first and last name, and then the last 4 digits of the card. So in this case, it would be MS3456. And then we also ask you guys write down the zip code as well. Any questions about that so far?
Are you going to send a record from this presentation?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'll send you the recording, and then I can. What was that?
All the information is very interesting.
Oh, yes. So I'll send you the recording, and then I can send you the copy of what is that? Yeah, Google Slides as well. All right, and then this is what FM Tracks looks like when you go in. So we have those 3 tabs. Let's see. Transactions, vendor reimbursement, and post-market. And we have SNAP EBT, and this is where you put the total. So let's say the total was $20, and then you would check Fresh Access bucks. And then you put in the customer ID and the zip code. Like I said, you guys don't have to worry about this, but if at any point you guys need a training because you're going to start doing this, feel free to reach out. And then we also have the vendor reimbursement tab. So you have the vendor name, and it's just you guys. So you would just put patch, and then you would have the total of SNAP you had that week, and then the total of FAB. And this tab is important because we have some people, if you don't put in the reimbursement, you won't get reimbursed for that week. So that's the important thing, is putting in the reimbursements you had. And then also the post-market report. It looks a little bit different. We've changed some of the questions, but it's pretty much the same. So total number of vendors, SNAP eligible vendor, number of vendors selling fruits and vegetables. And for you guys, it'll be a lot simpler. It would just be 1 since it's just you guys. And then staff, volunteers, and then if you guys had any activities. So this question has changed a little bit to, it's a separate nutrition ed question. So you can check off live music, taste tests, etc. And then transaction log, we have, I think we have 2 or 3 different ones for our different outlets in the Google Docs. I don't know if you guys use a different transaction log, but just to track the transactions when you have SNAP customers. And then FAB reimbursement is due Tuesdays at 1. And then, like I mentioned, those 3 sections, transactions, vendor reimbursement, and post-market, would need to be complete for your reimbursement. And then anything that's entered in after Tuesdays at 1, it'll be reimbursed on a quarterly basis. So usually the reimbursements are, I think, direct deposit like a week later. So usually by the next week. Great. And then in addition to FM Tracks reporting, we have weekly expectations for all of our outlets. So promote the outlet or promote the FAB program within your community. So I know a lot of people have social media, Facebook, promoting any events. Offer FAB each day the outlet is open. Ensure only fresh produce. Florida grown produce is purchased with FAB. And then we also have that stipulation 50 miles because we do have some outlets that are close to the border with Georgia. So that would count as local as well. And then any FM Tracks data needs to be submitted on a weekly basis, like I just mentioned, and then train and monitor staff and volunteers on SNAP and FAB regulations and procedures. And then monthly, oh, go ahead.
You said the ones that are 50 miles out of Florida, is that what you mean?
Yes, so anything within 50 miles of the border would count for Fresh Access bucks as well.
Other states.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
All right, and then monthly expectation, excuse me, participate in the monthly FAB network call, which saw you guys there. And then if for any reason you can't make it, we do record and also send a follow-up digest with all the information we went over. And then notify FAB of any staff changes or market hours, which you guys have done. And then annually participate in our annual training, which is usually held in August. So you won't have to worry about that until next year. And then complete our FAB annual survey. And we'll go in depth, I think, in our February monthly call. And then provide 6 SNAP Ed events. So we ask that you guys do 6 throughout the year, and that's usually September to August of the next year. And that can be taste tests. You guys can do recipe cards. Some outlets have newsletters, and that would count as your nutrition ed event. And then sign and return our annual contract and guidelines, provide annual membership payment, and then also submit an application if you guys have any new locations you'd like to add. And then any questions for any of those expectations?
Not so far.
Okay. All right, and then the FAB annual membership fee is based on the incentives redeemed. So it's kind of a scale for the different outlets, and that's usually done at the same time as the contract. So I think usually in like September or November. All right, and some FAB resources. So if you go to our FAB toolkit, we have a whole bunch of resources for our outlets. So we have nutrition education resources. So if you ever need any ideas, if you need any printouts for recipe cards, you can go there. We also have FM tracks information. We also have videos as well if you need any refreshers. Promotional materials, so any printouts, digital materials as well. And then Snap Tech support. If you ever have any issues with your EBT equipment and you need to do some troubleshooting, we have troubleshooting documents there and also contact information. And then disaster response, we had our disaster response information for Hurricane Ian. So any DSNAP, any extra updates for hurricanes as well. And then also just general ideas and resources for SNAP incentive programs. Right, and like I mentioned, we require 6 nutrition ed events. And in order for us to track that, we track it in our annual report and then also the post-market report in FM tracks those questions at the very end that I showed you guys. And then some examples of our promotional materials. You would use the discount model. There's also token model materials as well, but printouts. We also have editable documents on Canva if you guys want to make anything specific to your outlet. And then Snap Tech support, like I mentioned, and then troubleshooting as well. And we also have resources for customers. So if customers want to know a little bit about the FAB program, they can go to our website. And they can also find additional outlets as well. So we have all of our outlets listed on a map and then by county as well. And we also have our community partner resources. So if you guys work with any local organizations, any state agencies that want to get the word out about Fresh Access Bucks, we have printouts, flyers, and also other materials that they can use as well. All right, so just a quick pop quiz. Any questions before we get started?
No, not right now.
All right. So which of the following items are FAB eligible? So we have honey, microgreens.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. Microgreens, lion's mane mushrooms, cranberries, South Carolina peach tree, and dried herbs.
See. All right. We got most of them. The only thing is cranberries, because those are in Maine, I believe.
Those are
they're not.
Those are in Maine?
I think so. They're not Florida ground.
Gotcha. Oh, it's a trick one.
I know, it's a little trick question. All right, and then which of the following items are SNAP eligible?
Hot coffee, elderberry syrup, the gourds possibly. Don't think they cover anything with him. No seeds. No pet foods. Thanksgiving turkey and live shrimp.
Let's see. Oops. All right, so hot coffee would not be covered, just because it's kind of
hot
like,
coffee.
yes. If it was
Okay.
like coffee packaged to go, yes.
Right.
And then decorative gourds, no, just because they aren't considered food. And then hemp
Okay.
infused honey would be covered.
That's surprising.
Yes. And then you got that right as well. Yogurt labeled for pet consumption. And it's also like milk labeled for pet consumption as well, and items like that.
Gotcha.
All right. And then a little math equation. A customer purchases 2 dozen eggs for $12, Florida grown kale for $3, Florida grown tomatoes for $5, and a fruit tree for $20. How much should be charged in SNAP, and what will you report for FAB? Here's our multiple choice questions.
Okay, give me 1 minute.
All right.
C.
Let's see. The last one?
Yes.
It'll be 20 and 20. And then how did you get B?
Well, I figured because the food is not 50% of the purchase.
All right, so let's see.
Yeah, let's break that one
Yeah,
down.
I'll break it down. All right, so we have 12 eggs, which is SNAP eligible, $3, excuse me, in kale, 5 tomatoes, and 20 in fruit tree. And those 3 items would be FAB eligible. So that's, let's see, $28. So the total of Florida grown produce FAB eligible items is more than half of the total. So they would get a 50% discount off of the total purchase. Does that make sense?
I see what you mean now. So then it'll be 50% SNAP and then 50% FAB bucks.
Yeah, so the total of all the items together is 40.
Right.
And they're getting a 50% discount. So they would get, they would only be charged 20. And then you guys would report 20 for fresh access bucks.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I do understand now, yes.
Okay.
I think I was trying to separate the eggs and the tree, and I was overthinking it.
All right, let's see. And then what day and time is FM Tracks data due each week for reimbursement?
I believe it's Monday. No, Wednesday. Oh, I forgot that.
Tuesdays at 1. I know, I went over it really quickly. And then you guys don't have to worry about that. All right, and like I mentioned, FM Tracks, we check on Tuesdays at 1, and then anything entered in after that will get reimbursed on a quarterly basis.
Okay, so if they miss something in January, then the next quarter 2, would be when they would be able to get the reimbursement for that.
Yeah, so we submit our reimbursements on Tuesdays to our finance department, and then you guys will get reimbursed, I think, by Thursday or Friday. But if, let's say, you submitted your data on Wednesday, you would get the reimbursement on a quarterly basis. And then these are just questions and contact info. If you have questions, this is the contact info for the FAB team. So Katie, she's the FAB director. And then if you have any questions about Snap Tech or EBT equipment, you can reach out to Heather. And then Gila, she's the Northwest and Central Florida coordinator. And then here's my email as well. And then Megan is the communications coordinator and promotion support. So if you guys ever have any questions or you need support with that, you can reach out to her. And then, ooh, maybe that's the end. And then did you have any questions or anything else you wanted to go over?
No, not really. I understand it now.
Let's see, like I said, I'll
definitely need the recording.
all right. And then on the slides, there are some more examples let's see, of transactions.
Yeah.
But if you ever have any other questions about that as well, do you want to go over those right now?
Sure.
Okay, let me find them. I have to add them in here. And then I'll share my screen again. Oops. All right, I already showed the answer, but let's see, it's the right one. Yes. All right, so a customer purchases 2 dozen eggs for $12, a loaf of bread for $5, honey for $8, apples for $3, Florida grown carrots for $3, Florida grown strawberries for $6, and then how much should they be charged in SNAP, and what will you report in FAB?
Egg, bread, and honey, and apples would be SNAP.
What was that? The
Eggs, the
Mhm.
bread, the honey,
Mhm.
and the apples for SNAP, because it's not Florida grown.
Yep.
And then the remainder for the FAB.
And the remainder, it's the remainder 3 and 6.
$12. Okay, how?
Let's see. So the amount of Florida grown produce is less than 50% of the total. So you would add the eggs, the bread, the honey, and the apples, which is $28. And then let's see, the Florida grown carrots and strawberries, which is $9, is less than.
Oh, I added the regular
okay.
apples. Okay.
So the customer would be charged $28 in SNAP, and
yeah,
then the produce would be, or not produce, the Florida grown produce would be free. So
Okay.
$9 in FAB.
One more.
All right. A customer purchases a produce box for $25 and would also like honey and cut flowers How much should they be charged in SNAP, and what would you report for FAB?
For SNAP,
This one's kind of a trick question.
It's not the same of FAB.
What was that?
It's not the same of FAB.
No.
Remember, she had the chart of all the stuff that SNAP covers, and then the FAB is just the Florida grown produce,
Yeah.
and then seeds, and then the seedlings. So, but SNAP doesn't cover cut flowers, so I'm a little confused about that.
Yeah, so SNAP doesn't cover cut flowers, that was like the trick. So they would have to use either cash or another form of payment. So you wouldn't include that in the total.
So produce box is 25 and is % of the purchase. So is it B?
Yep. Yes,
Awesome.
I know it's a little confusing. So 25 and 8 is 33, so they would get a 50% discount just because the produce box is more than half of the total.
Hey.
So
Okay, I'm satisfied now. I had to get at least one right.
Yay. $16.50 in SNAP and $16.50 in FAB, which is correct. But yes, the more you do it, it gets a little bit easier.
Right.
And I think those are all of the examples. And then any questions as far as eligible items or expectations?
Can you show us the list again with the comparison of
yeah.
what is for FAB and what is for SNAP?
Yes.
These. Also, you can get seeds with SNAP as well.
Yes. So anything that is FAB eligible should be SNAP eligible as well.
Okay.
So if someone wanted to
Gotcha.
get just produce or just vegetable starts, they would get 50% off
Okay.
and pay half
So,
with SNAP and half with FAB.
Yes, SNAP and EBT. So even though it's separate, these items are still, you know, they get the FAB bucks for those as well. Still pay. Yeah.
And then let's see. And this as well. So 50% or more, half is free, and then less than half would be Florida grown produce is free. And then anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right. And then, like I mentioned, I'll send you guys the recording and then also the slides as well. But if you think of any questions, or if you have any questions in the coming weeks or at any point, feel free to reach out, or you can call me as well.
Okay.
And let's see. And then, yeah, I heard you guys are you doing walk-ins now? Everyone can come in every day as opposed to just the pickup. Yeah. All right.